Hi guys, thanks for clicking onto the daily roundup. We went through plenty today, talked about, well, what did we talk about, Harry? What should people listen out?
Southampton, Norwich, probably the bigger, or Norwich, Southampton.
Yeah.
You've also got Tottenham versus Manchester United, and a bit of a transfer roundup. Who did we talk about, Mikey, in the transfer roundup?
We talked about Leroy Sane and his contract negotiations with Manchester City.
The saga continues to see what happened there. It'll be very interesting. So yeah, what else do people look out for? I mean, we had the goals, VAR decisions. Anything else? Any controversial points that we covered?
I don't want to ruin the podcast already. They've got to keep their ears open because it's a good one this week or today.
So very good one, especially when Jamie's not around.
Ears open.
The beef as well, but Harry's keeping it secret today. But it is a very good one. So keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Have a listen. See you later. Hey guys, welcome back to In the Stands. Hope you're well. Hope you enjoyed the games today. So football's back again. We had 2 games today. We had our own team, Southampton, which is our team, how we all know each other. But we also watched the Man United Spurs game as well. So I'll have a little talk about that. A little bit of transfer rumours as well. We can get onto that later on. But yeah, first of all, we might as well talk about what we all saw or what we all enjoyed was a 3-0 of Southampton beating Norwich. How do we boys think about Southampton's performance against Norwich?
Comfortable, which was weird.
Yeah.
There aren't many times as a Southampton supporter you can go, oh, that game was easy.
Yeah.
Norwich didn't really provide a threat apart from the first 10, 15 minutes or so. Timo Pukki had a chance at 2-0 to make it 2-1, and Bednarek managed to get a block into it, and that was about it. That's all that Norwich offered. Cantwell was substituted after 50 minutes, an hour.
Which I thought was strange,
It was weird.
I was expecting more fight from a team that now they've lost this game. Sadly for them, are probably relegated. But if you head over to the Saints Prime pod, you will hear Mikey say, to be fair to him, in the first 15 minutes you'll have Norwich that's going to smash down the door, and if they don't break through, we're going to win the game. And in all fairness, that's exactly what happened. So it's a great little prediction there, to be fair. And like you said, with about 2 minutes in, Danny Ings, a fantastic touch on the ball just to guide it away from one of the Norwich players, like Dermich, I'm pretty sure it was, at the back post. And if it's 1-0 there, it could be a completely different story. But Southampton seemed to ride out that wave, and after that, like you said, it was pretty comfortable.
Yeah. And it's a bit like you said. So we do a Southampton podcast. So if you're a Southampton fan and you want to hear us talk more in detail, we do both previews and reactions afterwards. So that is something you can have a look if you are Southampton fans, because we all are. But also, this is a place to talk about the whole Premier League. So, we can go into detail about Southampton, but there's other avenues if you want to listen to that. But yeah, this is like an overall Premier League one, so we can talk about other bits. But yeah, staying on the Southampton one, I thought it looked very comfortable for Southampton. I think they, like you said, they defended well for the first 20 minutes, made sure Norwich didn't get anything into the game, because the last thing you want is them to try and start to control the game, especially as their manager came out and said, we need to win all these games. So kind of nullifying that and making them come out of their show a lot more, I think really helped them. And you look at Norwich's stats when they go down in the game, they basically don't get out of it. And you saw definitely in the second half, their defence was everywhere. Like, did you notice their defensive frailties, Harry?
Oh yeah, most certainly. I think it's sort of they're not resigned to it, but I think the quality of our counter-attack compared to theirs, or compared to their attack overall, was quite strong. And due to the fact that they're trying to play this nice on-the-ball, pass out the back sort of system, and Southampton love it when teams do that, especially when they're not very good at it, because the amount of times they won the ball right on the edge of their half and countered attacks. That's what happened in the game, despite the fact that none of the 3 goals came from that. In the first half, all their chances came from that exact thing. And like I said, I'm surprised Norwich didn't battle harder. They sort of lost their way after 15 minutes. And as soon as Southampton got a goal, which, obviously through Danny Ings, there was no coming back for Norwich.
Yeah. What was your reflections on the game, Mike? Like you said, it was easy, but where do you think a certain turning point was? Where do you think it all kind of changed?
I don't know when it changed. I think probably when when we got out of our own half. Southampton took 10 minutes or so to actually get out of their own half. And as soon as we managed to do that, we could push the line up, we could initiate the press. And then all of a sudden, where they're playing out the back and trying to play with Tim Krul and closer who hasn't played for nearly a year, or I think it was 10 months, I think it was, he hasn't played for. When you got players like that and inexperienced players too, they are gonna make mistakes. And with the way that Southampton play with the high pressing football, we won the ball back high up the pitch and managed to create chances. Danny Ings went close, hitting the crossbar in the first half. I think it was just the inexperience of the defence and the lack of game time really showed on Norwich's back four.
Yeah. And of course, Danny Ings bagging another goal as well, keeping as a contender to try and get that golden boot, or at least finish high up there. Another brilliant performance. Almost looked like he didn't have a break. He was just another game week for him. How important is he going to be for Southampton's rest of the season?
Well, the thing is, he's as much as people say he is the all-important character, people also forget the fact of Southampton, 2 of their wins this season in their fantastic December to January run did come without him. But it's always ideal when he's on the pitch, because despite the fact that we've had so much of a long time off, and he's also very injury prone, it doesn't seem like that. He's come back after 3 months and just sort of hit the ground running. He hit the bar, so that was sort of a sizer for him. And when he opened his body up in the second half and curled it into the corner, as soon as he got that space, I don't know about you guys, but you sort of knew it was going to be a goal. I was celebrating before he hit it. And by the time he hit it, he didn't even hit the back of the net, and he was already running off to do his little snooker celebration.
Yeah. And does it look like curtains for Norwich in the Premier League? I mean, this was a key opportunity for them to pick up points, and they didn't take advantage of it with a 3-0 loss at home. Is there any way you can see them potentially trying to stay up, or does it look like curtains for them, guys?
Well, it was before the game on Norwich's Twitter. The fans seemed quite excited because they'd gone to up front. I'm guessing they played one up front for the majority of the season. They went to up front. They matched us up, and at the end of the game, it was just it felt like the team was lost. Like, the effort was still there. You saw it on a lot of counter-attacks, especially the second goal. There were bodies back. It was just the panic over the situation gave Armstrong that space to curl it into the bottom corner. And so it wasn't down to effort in the fact that they didn't get it. It was just down to quality. And in the fact that Southampton did make mistakes. Jan Valery made 2 or 3 mistakes that could have led to goals. And there was not the quality to get the goals. Like Pukki's chance getting blocked by Bednarek, him not taking an earlier shot. Danny Ings' clearance in the second minute, which would have changed the game completely if they would have got that goal in as well. But it's looking worrying now for Norwich. Because they're 6 points off. 6 points off safety, having played a game extra. It's unlikely, but if all 3 teams win above them now, and Villa win as well, you're looking at 9 points, and it's a tough run of fixtures that they've got to.
Yeah. So it does look pretty bad for them, doesn't it? Really. And the second game we had featured today was obviously Mourinho's return against Man United. We had Pogba as well. That was talked about because it was Mourinho versus Pogba again. He didn't start, but he did make certainly a feature when he came on. How big was Pogba's impact, do you reckon, Harry, when he came onto the pitch?
Well, to start with, he didn't really have that much of an impact due to the fact of when he came on, Tottenham sort of packed the middle of the pitch because they knew that if he got on the ball, he could literally ping the ball 30, 40 yards absolutely anywhere. It was literally that just one moment of quality that he had. Don't get me wrong, after the penalty, I think he sprayed a fantastic ball to Rashford, who got unlucky with Davinson Sanchez getting a phenomenal blocking or sort of tackling before, and that's why he started over Toby Alderweireld. But that little bit of quality in the penalty area, close control against Eric Dyer, who had a very, very good game up until that point. Just bodies him off the ball, and it was an easy penalty decision. Sometimes you see those sorts of ones given, sometimes you don't. But he got the penalty, and weirdly, he wasn't on the pen, and neither was Rashford, because Bruno Fernandes is very consistent from the penalty spot. And that's what made it 1-1. But yeah, that substitution that was a turning point in the game.
Definitely. And a lot of people are now tweeting about this Pogba-Bruno Fernandes partnership. Like you said, Bruno Fernandes getting the free kick. And he did actually mention after the game, I'll see if I can pull up his quote, what he said. Here we go. He says, "It was a difficult game, but we scored one goal and we had chances to score more. We're not happy because we want to win every single game, but it's a good result. I've been training hard with Paul for the last weeks, so finding the connection, it's easier. He won the penalty I kicked, and most important is the team and winning the game." So even he there linked into the fact that him and Paul Pogba have been trying to gain this connection. How important do you reckon that connection is, Mikey, for the rest of the season for Man United to try and pick up those points to get that Champions League finish they're looking for?
Very. I mean, when you've got two world-class players in your side, you want them to be able to play together because that just makes them even better.
Yeah.
With the ability and the creativity that both Pogba and Bruno Fernandes bring to a United side, it is scary, and you know that they'll create chances. And with the right quality up front, where you've got the young Mason Greenwood coming through, Rashford's come back from injury, Martial's always got quality. Like there's always a chance that they will finish it off. So United could become a very dangerous side, and they haven't lost in their last 12 now, isn't it? That Solskjaer's really turned the ship around, and it does look like Champions League football could be on its way back to Old Trafford.
Yeah, just looking at this Opta stat here. Since his Premier League debut, Bruno Fernandes has been directly involved in more goals than any other Premier League in the competition, with 3 goals and 3 assists. So it looks like he is making a massive impact for Man United. Harry, how do you think that Premier League chase is going to look? Do you reckon Man United are going to build from this, or is there other teams as well competing for that space you think is more likely?
They should get it. They should get it because their running is easier than the Chelsea's and everyone below. But I was really impressed with the way Mourinho set up his team today, and the fact of he's known for his defensive style of football, but he started with quite an attacking lineup, to be honest with you, and that's how they got their opening goal. Bergwijn coming on from that right-hand side, cutting inside. I don't know what Luke Shaw or Maguire was doing, and just smashed it into that. And once again, I don't really know what De Gea was doing.
Yeah.
But the fact is that United are very impressive. Tottenham have seemed to get their tactics sorted out. Chelsea are obviously quite a strong side as well. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than I first expected, to be fair.
Yeah. And you mentioned about De Gea's mistake there. Now, Mike, I'm not sure if you were able to catch it, but at half-time, Roy Keane descended into a madness about De Gea's performance and the rest of the Man United performance as well, claiming that he would, I don't know, did he say he was going to punch the players, considering?
He would punch the player, I think, so don't quote me on this, but I think if he was in there, he'd punch the players. De Gea is the most overrated goalkeeper he's heard in a long time, and he doesn't know what they're doing because Maguire and De Gea are international players, so they'd have to walk home if he was in the dressing room.
Yeah, he wouldn't let them get on the bus, would he? He was very disappointed. Patrice Evra just responded with laughter to those statements because I don't know what else you do to those. You
can't disagree. You can't disagree with the lads. No. It's just if you disagree, then you're his enemy.
You're in the firing line.
The last thing that you want to be is an enemy of Roy Keane.
David De Gea, is he underperforming at Man United, or was he so exceptional in the last couple of years that these mistakes are finally catching up to him? How would you assess his performance recently, guys?
Considering he's supposed to be like the best goalkeeper in the world, he's kept 8 clean sheets in 30 appearances, and he's conceded 31 goals, which I mean isn't as many as I thought, but he's made 3 errors leading to goals as well. I think 4 tonight. So he's making mistakes that world-class keepers can't make to be called world-class, if that makes sense. It's a very... I mean, the shot does have power, but it's at him. Yeah. So he's got to be able to tip that around the post. He should be saving that, and he's cost the side 2 points tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And like De Gea, I remember a couple of seasons ago was kind of people saying that they got points from De Gea because he was that class. Whereas
I think he got fans player of the season or players player of the season 3 years in a row. Just to sort of compile that statement.
Yeah, that only proves my point. Yeah, the fact that how well he was performing for this Man United side, and it kind of seems like they're letting him down, which is a kind of a real shame, especially as he was almost, he was targeted with a Real Madrid move, which was let down by computers or a fax machine or something.
Mm.
Who's even using fax machines? I do not know. But yeah, still, a target to Real Madrid, he looks way far off that now, doesn't he? The last thing I kind of want to cover about this game was we already mentioned Pogba and his performance coming on, but it frustrates me with Pogba because I can't really tell if they can get the reaction out of him to get him to play for these final 9 games of the season. That combination is going to be deadly. But why do you think Pogba blows hot and cold in this Man United side? Because it seems he's never really hit an amazing, consistent run of form. And you think he would be an absolute world-class player on his day if he could consistently create that form. Why do you think he blows hot and cold like that?
I think at Juventus he was given a free role. He was given like basically he could do whatever he wanted. He could roam around the pitch wherever he wanted to do. And that's how you get the best out of Paul Pogba, because he has a footballing brain. He knows where he needs to be. But the problem is especially under Mourinho, he tried to mould him in sort of like a defensive midfielder, sort of deep line playmaker sort of role. Yeah. And Pogba didn't like that. And I think Solskjaer he gave him the freedom that he wanted in those first like sort of 11 games that he had with the club. And then again, he's been hit with injuries, and I don't know if the moulding's still been trying to do. So you just sort of got to let Pogba do the role that he wants to do. And with McTominay, it seems like that they've got that sort of destroyer in their midfield that they don't need to have. And if he can have that link with Bruno Fernandes and have a little bit of rotation between the two, then you could probably get the best out of Paul Pogba.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that, Harry? How you do get the best out of Paul Pogba to make him a consistent player?
That's the thing. I think Mikey literally took the words out of my mouth for what I was going to say. I think he said it very, very well, to be fair. And with Man United, with Pogba, it's difficult to get him playing at his absolute best because they can't really afford a free role unless they literally tell McTominay, you sit there and don't move. Because the thing is, if Pogba and McTominay play, that means Fred can't play, and he's sort of playing that role at the moment. And to be honest with you, he's done quite well when he's been called upon this season. He sort of finally came into his own, and now Pogba's back fit, so it's quite unlucky from that perspective. Yeah, but I think sort of he was given that free role, like Mikey said, and then they signed Bruno Fernandes, so he's had to be pulled back a bit further again. But I think the basic foundation of it is that he wants to be in a winning team. In the past 3 years, apart from a Carabao Cup final, which all of us from a Southampton point of view really wish we won, but he won, is if you're a World Cup winner, you don't want to be lifting Carabao Cups during the off season or during the actual season. You want to be lifting Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues. And I think it's just due to the fact that they didn't seem to be progressing for the previous 3 years. Whereas now, under Solskjaer, maybe he's not an elite manager and maybe they need to bring in a Pochettino if they want to not just get into the Champions League, but win the league, win the Champions League. They're starting to actually play well. They're starting to win more games. You see, they're 12 on the bounce now in sort of unbeaten streaks. It's just about being in a winning side, and I don't think he felt that for the previous 3 years, whereas now he does, or could do at least.
Yeah. Do you think like a younger version of Nemanja Matic would be the best thing to bring in at United at the moment? Because that's sort of what they need. They don't have that sort of rock. Like McTominay's filling the role well, but I don't know if he's that destroyer that United need. Maybe they need a little bit more quality. They need like an all-round central midfielder to play next to Pogba.
I think McTominay is a very, very versatile player, and he has all the facility. I mean, he's gone through the United system and come into that system, and you can clearly see he's got all the real attributes you need out of a class midfielder. And I think depending on what they do with him, they can mould him really into what they need. But I think the main aspect is they need to keep him in their plans. So in order to get the best out of that player, they need to hold him down into a position that he can grow into. And we've seen it with countless other players who haven't really found their position. But if you want McTominay to be a destroyer, he can learn his craft in that way. If you want him to be a box-to-box, he can do that as well. But he's tall, he's strong, he's got good feet, he can have a shot, he can pick a pass, he's good on the, he's got all these things that he can do. And if they if they build with him, he could be an absolute class midfielder, and I think he could stay in that side for a long, long time. So I agree with you in the fact that they probably do need someone who can hold down in that midfield. But if they give McTominay time to pick, not pick a position, but hold down a position, I think he could be a very, very class player for them.
Do you think he could become an elite player, McTominay?
I think he's got the potential to. What do you reckon about his potential?
I was thinking, because when Mikey was saying that, I could sort of see Ndidi going to Manchester United and filling in that role. It just depends how much do you think McTominay can improve. Because if you think he can get to that level, you might as well keep him, because they're not going to win the league for another 3 years at least. And by that time, McTominay will be at his peak. So you might as well give him that chance. But if you don't think he's going to reach that level, that's when you should find someone.
It's just when I've seen him as an outsider, watching him play, I think he has been a very, very good player. But then again, I'm not on the inside. I don't watch him day in, day out. And if the manager thinks it would be a better opportunity to get an elite player in, then by all means, I'm not going to question that decision. I just think it'd be a shame to halt his development, because I think he could turn into a very good player.
The only problem I see that being, will Pogba give him 3 years? Yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? If you're going to build
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that if you're building a system, you need players to stick around, don't you? And you can't guarantee Pogba's going to do that. That's all I was going to say.
But the last thing I was going to say is the 90th minute VAR incident.
Oh yeah.
It was a dive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was anything. I don't think it was anything. Like, I was watching it. I was sat there. I've got to be honest with you. I didn't have full focus. I sat there watching, playing FM at the same time. I looked up, and the incident happened, and then he gave a penalty, and I was just sat there
quite
in confusion. Like, what on earth has happened? What on earth has happened here? Watch the replay, and I would have felt sorry for Tottenham if that didn't get overturned, and especially Eric Dyer, because once again, I think Eric Dyer had a good game. He had a fantastic challenge, and Anthony Martial when Bruno Fernandes played him in. All round, he had a solid game. He gave a penalty away against Pogba. And if he gave away a penalty there, not only would that be bad for him, obviously, but Mourinho's plan almost went perfectly, and they would have lost the game through 2 penalties. So I would have felt bad for him in that aspect. Yeah. No way a penalty.
It's just that, like, he doesn't touch the ball, but then he doesn't really touch the man either. So it was like a last minute thought of, we can get something here if I can sort of trick him into it.
It was very strange. He almost did. He put his foot down, and it's looked like he's gone in for the challenge. But I don't know. I was debating this with my dad when I was watching it. If a player does that on the halfway line, in the fact that the ball's gone, he's planting his foot down for a challenge, and it's hit the player on the foot, is that given as a free kick, or is that just kind of like a part of the game where you've just got caught? Because I don't think I've seen too many of those where the ball's gone and the player's just caught him on the foot and the ref's called it back. I don't really know.
It depends on the ref, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it depends on the ref, and it depends on the movement of the ball as well. Because if you manage to play a forward pass and it's got someone in behind, and then someone gets tagged a little bit, then like it can be a free kick.
I think I've kind of worked it out in my head while I've said it out loud. I think the majority of it, if he did get not stamped on, but if he got hit in the foot while the ball's gone, I think the majority of the referees want to keep the game going rather than calling it back. So if it is a sideward pass and they've maintained the ball, I think the team would just carry on, and it would try and hopefully get the player to get back up again. But it kind of creates a grey area when it comes to a penalty, doesn't it? Because it's kind of like...
To be fair, the angle that I saw, it didn't even look like he stamped on him. It
looked
like he didn't touch him.
Oh yeah, I'm going into theoretics here when I'm saying if he did stamp on him, would that be given as a penalty? Because even I was looking at it thinking
93rd.
Oh.
93rd minute. I think he just sort of backed into him to try and win something, and without VAR it would have worked. But obviously, because there was VAR, it could get overturned, and nothing was given.
Well, hey, everyone can praise VAR, not complain about it, right? That's
not from a couple of days ago. It's very on and off, isn't it? VAR, people's opinions of it. If it goes your way, you're loving it, and if it doesn't, you're hating it. So,
Well, there we go. Those are the games today. Any other thoughts on the games? I've got a little bit of transfer news, not too much, but one that's popped up for me. Anything else that you guys think about the games?
Just one thing. Do you think Man United and Tottenham would have taken a point? Do you think Tottenham before the game would have taken a point?
I think Tottenham were going into that game needing a win, really, weren't they? Because
Yeah.
this was their prime opportunity to make a 6 points difference. Really, you know, get Man United to drop 3 and then gain 3 would be massive for them to get it. So I think Tottenham would be more of the disappointment, especially to lead early as well. They're going to be really disappointed taking that away.
I think United will be the happier of the two because of their running. They didn't really need to pick up any points from this game. Still with a chance to catch up with Chelsea. So, yeah, I think that's going fine.
Yeah, fair point. Right, my bit of transfer news. I don't know if you guys got the same bit, but I've got a quote from Pep Guardiola talking about Leroy Sane, basically confirming that Sane wants to leave. He's been offered multiple contracts and has been rejecting them. His main link is Bayern Munich, and he's rejected several offers from Man City. What are your guys' thoughts on Sane trying to leave Man City for potentially another team? Is this the right move?
Yeah, I'd go, because you look at the amount of wingers that City have. If you want to be playing first team football, and Sane's now coming 23, isn't he?
He's still very young. He only won like Young Player of the Year 2 seasons.
Yeah, so he's still got like plenty of time to develop, plenty of time to grow, and you want to be doing that playing first team football. And at City, even though you've probably got a very good chance of winning titles and like cup competitions, you're not going to play as much. Especially with like Sterling, Mahrez, and Bernardo Silva, you've got 3 world-class players there. Sane's a 4th. And he could be a world-class player somewhere else and start in most teams across Europe. So I think Bayern Munich would be a sensible move as well, because they're building a good young squad there, and they've got a good chance of kicking on, maybe challenging for the Champions League. Even this year, they might be challenging for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. So apparently Bayern Munich made him the number 1 target in the summer. And Man City are demanding 62 million for a person in their last year of their contract, which seems a very big figure. But of course, they signed him for 37 million, so still looking to almost double their money there through a player on their last year. So it'd be very interesting to see whether they definitely want to get him out on his last year and make that money on him, or they will use him for another year. It seems like they're definitely trying to get the money in.
To be fair, though, 62 million for a player of Sane's quality, I think that's a very good deal. It's not, if you can sort of jink that down towards 50, you can really get a quality player for not too much money. A bit like the Timo Werner transfer. Yeah. Like, you've got a really good player for, in all fairness, not a world-class fee. So
yeah, I'm looking at the Standard here, and they're reporting that apparently Bayern are only so far prepared to pay in the region about 30 million for him. So really low balling him, and basically saying that if the price is not met, which they deem to be, what did I say? 62,
yeah.
Then they will force him to do his last year, and then he will leave on a free. Apparently they were asking for over 140 million the year before. So although they have decreased it by a lot, 62 is their non-negotiable offer. Is that a sensible idea, Harry? Making him stay for that last year, even if he doesn't want to be there? Like,
if it's 30 million, they could chuck 30 million about like it's no one's business. I think they need to get at least 50 for him, at least profit, because he's too good to get rid of him for a stupidly low fee. And I'm looking at Bayern's squads here, looking at their wingers. Ivan Perisic, he's getting older. You've got Coutinho that they're not keeping. You've got Gnabry one side, Sane on the left, and you've got Lewandowski up front. That's a ridiculous front three. Yeah. That's an absolutely ridiculous front three. I think Bayern are just worried because he's not actually played. I don't know if he played a couple of days ago. I'm not too sure, because he's been out injured since the Community Shield. I think they can have that sort of leverage on him, that the fact of if he's not been fit for a year, he might now have that recurring injury, or he might have this, or he might have that. And because he's on his last year, I think they will get away with getting him for about 50 million. I think 62 is still slightly high, just because of the injury contract status and the fact that he doesn't want to be there. I think those three things combined will put it down to 50. But any day of the week, you take a player for 15 million. That's his quality.
Definitely. Well, it's one we can keep our eye on again, see what happens. And if you want to keep up to date, make sure you subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or your favourite podcasting platform. We'll keep you updated. We're doing our daily episodes. So every game that's played, I mean, there's continuous football for the next 7 days, and we will be doing a daily episode every day. So if you want to hear the summary, latest transfer news, anything like that, make sure you're subscribed and ready so you can hear it. But yeah, it's been my normal co-host this week, apart from Jamie this week, today even. Jamie's not been able to make it, but I'm still being joined by Harry. Say goodbye, Harry.
Goodbye, Harry.
And Mikey, do you want to say goodbye as well?
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye, Harry. You have to be different.
I just want to say, all right, in the 4 fixtures that have been played, Aston Villa and Sheffield United drew. I predicted that. Yeah. Man City battered Arsenal. I predicted that. Southampton beat Norwich. I predicted that. Tottenham drew with Man United. I predicted that. So. Southampton are finishing 10th.
You would have got some peas for that.
Yeah.
I didn't fairly bet so because I don't want to lose money.
The lottery numbers, just so we know.
Oh, 16, 24, 32, 68. Go for that.
I think you need one more.
I don't know. I was trying to recall the numbers from last.
That's smart. That's smart because what he's done there. 4 in a row is like 20 quid. 5 in a row gets you the jackpot. So he's held the last one for his own. So that's.
Do you know what I'm quite interested in knowing? Do you know what I'm quite interested in knowing though? Go on. Do you know what it is? How long it will take Ollie to realise he's still recording?
Well, you need to do the intro anyway, so it's fine.
Oh shit!